So the request today is for balance. We're going to work on balance as it's a bit icy outside. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come into the room, come into our bodies. So I'm going to ask you just to roll your shoulders back, sit forward on your chair. We're going to start with 2 sets of alternate nostril breathing, and then I'd like you to go on to doing 2 more on your own. So covering over your right nostril, breathe in through your left. Close that off and breathe out through the, I'm trying to reverse it and I can't do it. I'll start again. All right, covering over your left nostril, breathe in through the right. Close that off, breathe out through the left. Back in through the left. And then out through the right. And that's 1 round. Back in through the right. Close that off, out through the left. Back in through the left. And out through the right. So I will do 2 more, slightly slower, but go with the pace that's fluid for you. So back in through the right. Close that off, out through the left. You want the breath to be flowing, okay? Not faltering. Back in through the left. Not trying to hold it. And then out through the right. That's the 3rd round. Back in through the right. Close off the right. Out through the left. Maybe you can think about whether you can feel the beginning, the middle and the end of the breath as well. Back in through the left. Following the whole of the breath and then out through the right. That's 4 rounds. So last one on your own. Back in through the right, off you go. And then let the hands come to the lap. So that's very good for bringing you into the breath, into the body, and that will help with starting to feel more relaxed as well. If you've got a metronome, if you're musical, brilliant idea to play the metronome and you'll see that the breath goes slower. It feels like the metronome's getting faster, but in fact the breath very quickly goes slower. So we're going to start, we're doing balancing, so we're going to start with some ankle rolls. So left foot out, roll the ankle one way. You're sitting on the edge of your chair, so this is working the core as well as the ankle, and then change the foot and roll the ankle the other way. That's just to give you, like I said, you make sure you're using the core and you're not slumping. Great, and then same again with the other foot. So you can start whichever direction you want, your rotations. Just bear in mind that you're going to do it going the other way. So change direction, please. If the leg starts to hurt, if this is too much, then you can rest your foot down and then bring it back up again when you're ready. Okay, and then let that go. Now we're going to do both legs. This is working the core quite strongly. 1 leg, 2. I've had to sit back a bit on my chair. And point and flex. Point and flex. Okay, great. And then point the legs to one side. Belly is drawn in. Point the legs to the other side. Or feet really. One way and then the other. If you've got a cushion at home, take the feet back down. You can put a cushion or a block between the feet, and that will make it more challenging and more interesting. Now we're going to actually go from the feet to just opening up the side of the body. So just inhaling, take your arms out in front of you. Like I say, the focus is on balance, but we're needing to work the whole of the body. Take the arms up above the head. And then look at the little finger, get the little thing down towards you. And then go over to the right. And then come back up to center. Over to the left. Your ear stays in line with your arm. And then once more, now moving on the breath, inhale up, exhale over, Inhale up, exhale over. And there that goes. So that's working the side of the body and also the spine. Okay. So coming back to the feet, I'm just going to go onto my toes and then flip the toes the other way. Hope you can see that. So I'm going forward onto my toes and then back the other way. Don't worry if they don't all cooperate. That's absolutely fine. You're just getting a bit of movement there. And now we're going to think about doing some standing and some balancing. So we're going to come to standing very slowly. So we're working the core and we're working the legs. You want to get the legs strong. So very slowly, feet parallel, check they're parallel. Slowly come up to standing. Okay, and I'm going to just adjust this so you can see me a bit. And then I want you to come back down to sitting. So slowly, slowly, slowly come down to sitting. And then back up. If you want to make this more challenging, come into chair pose as you come up. So you have your hands raised either side. I would avoid doing that if you know you've got back issues. Weights in the heels and then exhale to standing. And we're going to sit back down again. And I really would encourage you, so going as slow as you can. You might want to feel back to make sure you know where the chair is, but you're not putting any weight on the chair if possible. And I would encourage you when you're getting in and out of the chair or off the sofa, the table, to go without using your hands as much as possible. Okay, so don't use your hands to be weight bearing. So coming up and then, like I say, going back down one more time, incredibly slowly. If you can not use the arms to help you get in and out of chairs, you will keep developing the thigh muscles, which are very, very strong muscles, and you will keep your mobility. Once we start using our hands, then the muscles. So again, if we now lift our foot up, so I'm bringing my right foot up, you might get to here and then you need to hook it with the belt to bring it up. Absolutely fine. Might not go any further than here, but get as far as you can without using your hands. So at this stage, I'm now going to bring my hand. I'll just try and move it. So I'm engaging the muscles, and then I will use my hand to get it into the final position. But by using the musculature of the leg as much as possible, or of the glutes, you're just going to keep them strong, okay? And then you won't be needing help in and out of chairs when you're in a chair that doesn't have an arm. So this may well be enough. You sit upright, take your shoulders back. We're working to the hip, the outside of the leg. Toes coming back towards shins to protect my knee. And this may well feel enough sitting upright. Or you have the option of folding forward slightly. And you're leading with the sternum, okay? So you're leading with that. You all right to mute yourself, Jack?
Yep.
Thanks. And then coming back up. Before we release the leg, we're going to just wiggle the toes. And I tend to look away from my foot as I find that my eyes seem to send a message to my foot. And it actually means that my ankle gets less flexible, but it's up to you. So I'm turning the foot one way, turning the foot the other, repeating all the things we did with our feet out in front of us, pulling the toes back towards me, pushing the toes the other way, toes back towards me, other way. If you want to, you can have a go at threading your fingers between the toes, which can take some time. So full range of movement. And then before we release the leg, we're just going to slide it across and do a seated twist. So first of all, use the hands on the knee. They might not get to the knee, but just use the hands on the body to pull your shoulders back and lengthen the spine. So imagine that I'm pushing my hand on your head and you're pushing up and resisting. And then we're going to exhale and turn towards the raised knee. So I'm turning and I'm feeling back behind the knee. And then I'm going to let the head and neck go last of all, because the main place we're trying to work into is the lumbar spine at the bottom. Take some steady breaths. Inhale, lengthen up, get that length in the spine. If you don't have the length, you can't get the twist. And then exhale, belly button towards the spine. Come a bit deeper. And then back to center. Release that foot. And we're doing the same thing on the other side. So the first thing I was saying is you're picking your foot up as high as you can without using the belt. But if you need to hook the foot, please do, or your hands you can use, but we're trying to make the leg do the work. And then get the foot into position. Toes pointing back towards shin. And we're sitting upright. Roll the shoulders back and down. And this may well be enough. If you're tight in the hips, you might want to concentrate on trying to get the weight evenly in both buttocks. Obviously, this leg's raised, so that sit bone's going to be higher, but just making those little micro adjustments can give you really nice stretches and tight areas around the hips, hip flexors, glutes. So you can feel into the detail of which muscles are complaining and increase your body awareness. Or if you're feeling quite comfortable in the pose, you can exhale, leading with the sternum, so nice straight back. It will round now and just come forwards. And that will intensify the stretch, possibly on the hamstrings at the back of the legs or somewhere else. Toes are pointing back, still over the raised foot to protect my knee. Okay. And then inhaling, coming back up. And release the foot. Oh, actually, sorry, we've got to do our wiggling. Bring it back up. So rotating the toes one way, rotating them the other. Keep changing the direction. I've gone back. And then changing direction again, just to get it loose, trying to get that really relaxed. You may well feel that in the muscles in the foreleg as well. Trying to make the ankle floppy and release. And then toes back towards you, toes away, back towards you, away. Okay. Good. And then let that go. Apologies, have I done the seated twist? We didn't, did we, on this side? So back to the cross. Hand comes onto the thigh just below the knee, or on the knee if you want. Lift up and lengthen. And then on the exhale, we're turning slowly across the body towards the raised knee. So I've got my left leg over my right, and I'm turning to my left. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, get that length so you can get a deep twist in the lumbar curve, and exhale, round you go. I'm feeling back with my arm. I'm keeping this shoulder, the left shoulder, low. So I've not got the hand up high. I'm trying to keep the hand low. So it's a strong twist in the left shoulder as well. Take some slow, steady breaths. And then slowly come back to center. Okay. So we're going to come to standing again. So on an inhale, very slowly coming up. And then coming back down again. Hovering, feeling back to the chair. Sitting down. And then once more, coming up to standing. Okay, so we're going to go onto our ankle, onto our toes. And you won't be able to see my hands. My hands are going straight up in the air. So this is quite a strong balance. Straight up in the air. And then on an exhale, I'm bringing my right arm forward and my left arm back. Okay. Don't have to turn and look. And then come back to center. If you fall out of the pose, that's absolutely fine. That's kind of the aim of the game, really. We want to really take ourselves to the limits of our balance. And then same again. Now my left arm's coming forwards and my right arm's gone back. And inhale, come back up and release. Okay, that's really works the ankles. The more they wobble, the better in a way. And we're going to do that once more. So on an inhale, come up. If that felt too much, you can come up with the hands and on the toes and then exhale, slowly come down and concentrate on doing that. Okay, if the first one felt too much, have this as a modification. So your inhale coming up, hands come up above the head, and then you turn the palms to face out. And so the palms are facing the ground on the way down and your lower down as you come down. Yeah, so palms face up and you lift up and think about keeping the weight even on the toes. And then exhale, just feel the way it shifts. So just getting an awareness of where it shifts coming down. If you want to, repeat the first one, then you'd come up now and repeat right arm coming forward, staying up on your toes. I'm aware that this can be too strong on the ankles and it's working the shins really strongly as well. So do whichever version felt right for you. And then make that your last one, whichever one you do it. And you'll now need to release the shins. We don't get to work the shins very often, so give them a good shake. So as if you're trying to flip some water or sand off your foot. Really flick and release that, yeah? Same again on the other side. And then we're going to stretch the calves by going onto our heels and walking. Okay, so walking around, stretching the heels. So that's a counter stretch. So now the calves have got, the shins have got shorter. And just try walking backwards if you've got space behind you, because you will find you speed up. Okay, good. Now, coming onto the side of our feet. So I'm going onto the side, that's quite challenging. Again, we're just working the ankle through its range of movement. If you've had an accident and you've got an issue with your ankles, stick with doing toes and heels, yeah? So I'm just coming back so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to walk on the outside of my feet and make that effortless. Once you've nailed that, it's going to get harder. We're going to go on the inside of our feet. So on the inside edge. Again, you're putting your ankles through lots of movements and try and keep the hands from doing this sort of penguin and let that go. And the same thing as before, just flick the toes to release them. Make sure you're beside your chair or something. We're going to take our right foot in front of our left and they're really close together, okay? Really close. And we're going to balance. So you may well need your chair. Hold onto the chair firmly with the whole hand. And this is going to work the back leg. Holding onto the chair, you can see if you can come down to one finger, maybe you can come down to no fingers. Go to, and then go back to just holding the chair very gently and nod your head. The idea is we're going to fall out of this, okay? You'll feel your ankles really working. So nod your head and then shake your head. And then if that is not making you wobble enough, close your eyes and nod your head. And if that's not making you wobble, shake your head. There we go. Really, I want you all to be looking like that. Yes, good. Brilliant. Okay, and then swap. So now we have the other foot behind. Okay, and we'll start. And you'll have a dominant side, and one side will be easier than the other. Half of the course, really. So see if you can come to a couple of fingertips. Try and take your thumb out of the equation, because that's going to give you more of a grip than a little bit of gentle support. And same procedure. Once you've got yourself to what feels like a limit, ease off slightly. So put some hands back maybe, or more fingers down, and then there's the nod of the head, and then there's the shake of the head, and then there's eyes closed if you're finding those. We want to say, like I say, we want to fall out of the pose, and then shake. And this is so good for, there you go, have a wobble. It's so good for when it's icy and slippery, yeah? And then again, we're going to just need to release that. So get your belt. We're going to do a quad stretch whilst we're here. So get your belt, and we're going to hook the right foot first. So hooking the right foot, take it. You might be able to hold the foot, in which case you can do that. It's completely up to you, what works best for you. And this is going to get here very strongly. And you're then thinking about lining your thighs up. So I've got me sideways, and you want it to look like I've just got what, you know, my legs, as if I was standing, the thighs look the same. Okay, and then you'll find probably that you need to adjust the upper body. It'll give you an awareness of which way your pelvis tilts. So you might find you walk like that, or you might find you walk like that, with a large curve here. So just find your balancing point and either hold the chair and then take a number of fingers down, or if it's a wobbly day, keep it for support. And think about pulling the foot towards your bottom. So if you've got the belt, pulling on the belt, and the stretch is going to be here in the front of the leg. Okay, and then do the same again on the other side. And if it's easier, come round to the other side of your chair if you've got space. And I would suggest start with the belt and see how you get on. Okay. And it's all about, it's not about how high you get the foot, it's all about getting a lovely stretch here and in the hips and in the groin area. So we're really working into the top of the hips and the quadricep at the front. Okay. So if you want to get rid of the belt, you can, because you'll find it releases quite quickly. It's whichever works for you, really. And then just look down, check that the legs parallel. Think about drawing the belly in and up on your pelvic floor and get an awareness of the abdominal region of the body and the interconnection possibly between the muscles there. Okay, and then release. Good. So we're coming onto our toes again. This is called horse. I think this one makes a bit of sense. So you're coming up onto your toes, your knees are wide, and you've got your hands in prayer. Okay. So come up as high as you can, and then release. And the option is to repeat that again 2 more times. If your knees are quite delicate, then don't do this next one. Just repeat the horse. So you'll do the horse. If you're going to try another version, you have your hands out in front of you, you're up on your toes, and you're coming down, keeping the heels really high and wobbling. Keeping the heels, which is the aim of the game, keeping the heels really high, and then you get to this comfy place, and I'm afraid you're not allowed to stay there. You have to come straight out. Okay, and then come up slowly, 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 and release. With horse, do it again. If you've done it once, release out and do it again. Okay, looks good, great. And now we're going to come back to sitting. So very slowly coming down, feel behind you. Okay. And then up again, I'm afraid, not using your arms. Up again. And back down again. And I want you now to pull your knee in towards your chest. So right knee into chest. Roll your shoulders back and down. Really pulling the knee as much as you can in towards the chest. And then I'd like you to Rotate the knee one way. And rotate the knee the other way. And then staying holding onto the knee. Take it out to the sides, but keep facing forwards. And you can make the foot flexed. So it's sort of seated half frog. See how that feels. Look over the opposite shoulder. And then moving on the breath, inhale, come back and look over your knee. Exhale, look over the opposite shoulder. Once more, inhale, look forwards. And exhale, back over the left shoulder. And then bring the foot back to center. Don't release it yet. Take the leg out in front of you. Got my hands underneath the thigh. And see how that feels. Can you lower the leg down slowly to the floor? Okay. Repeat that on the other side. So we're getting hold of the knee. You can hold behind the knee if that feels better. If you've got knee issues, this can be really good. It just creates a little bit more space in the knee capsule, and also it allows you to keep your shoulders back and down. So we want to be with a nice back. Yeah? We don't want to be like this. Okay? So please do that option if that feels better for you. And you're pulling the knee in as you exhale, releasing slightly. Pulling the knee in, release, in. Okay, and then we're doing some circles. Circling the knee one way. You can do that with the leg behind, and then circling it the other. And then it was out to the side, okay? Take the leg out to the side. As far as is practical, looking forwards. You want to keep the body, you don't want the body and the spine turning. You want this to be happening in the hip flexors. Keep the leg up. So that's 3 breaths here. And then I'm going to look towards the knee or this shoulder, and then exhale over the other shoulder. Moving on the breath, inhale, one shoulder, exhale. You might feel this all the way down the back, you might not. And then inhale, coming back. And then I'm going to take the leg out. I'm just showing you all sides. Leg out in front of me. Release. And very slow. The leg stays there for a minute. It's quite strong on the abdominal, belly in and up. And then release. Foot to the floor. Okay. And now we're going to give a little flap, flap, flap. To just release all around this area of the body. So I'm just taking my knees together, taking my knees wide. And take your feet wide. I'm really on the edge of my chair. I don't know how comfortable this is. If your chair doesn't feel stable, please don't do this. Go for a seated twist instead. Yeah? But if your chair's quite stable, just moving. So it's like windscreen wipers. Okay? Good. Okay. And now we're going to come to standing again. So feet together this time. If you know you don't have lower back issues, as you come up, stop in chair. So chair, you're like this. Your weight's in the heels, thighs are rolling in, arms are up parallel with the ears. Stick your bottom out a bit more. Belly in and up, glutes engaged, quite strong. And then exhale to standing. Okay, good. We're going to do a balancing pose. So this is a tree. So the options are to have the foot here. So I've got my ankle against my, I'll come back a bit, I think, so you can see. Got my ankle against my, well, heel against ankle. Yeah? Or if you want to, you would get hold of the foot. You bring the foot up and actively push it into the leg. These are a bit slippy. So don't want to have it here on the knee. So choose what's good for you. That's not going to stay, I don't think. Well, I'll try. No, I'm going to go with this. So you can have the foot actually against the leg as well, if you want to make it more of a balance. Hands are in prayer. Find something fixed to stare at. And then if you're feeling sort of confident, stable, take the hands up. If you've got tight shoulders, have the hands apart and the fingers really flared. If you're not tight in the shoulders, you can bring the hands together above the head. So up to you. Slow, steady breaths. Rooted. So the branches might be waving, but the base and the trunk slightly swaying but rooted. And then release. Okay? Same again on the other side. Whichever you did on that side, please repeat it on this side. So maybe spread the toes, get a sense of grounding. And then bring the foot to wherever you had it before. Fixed gaze, staring ahead. And then inhaling. Possibly taking the hands up, but do repeat what you did before. You know what, some days we're just way more wobbly than others, and you have to go with that. I have heard, and I do know that if you hold your ear, the opposite ear, that can help with balance. And then slowly bring the hands down and release the foot. So this is a class 4 balance. So I'm going to now ask you to put your chair in front of you. So you've got something to hold on to, or a table. And we're going to make sure you've got enough space behind you. So you're going to now bring your foot, I'm going with the right leg, bringing my right leg up. Going to possibly get hold of the knee or underneath the knee. And stand like that for 2 breaths. And then think, let go. And this may well be enough, thinking about staying upright. But we're going to do shifting of the weight. So possibly bring your hands onto the chair and then take the foot back behind you and see how that feels. If you can keep the hands just above the chair, that's great. And if you can do that, you can take the arms back behind you if you want. And then inhale, coming back. Don't put the foot on the ground yet. Bring the knee up in front of you and then release the foot down. Okay, pretty tricky. We're going to do that twice on each side. So make sure you've got something solid to hold on to. First we'll raise the leg up and then hold around the knee. I mean, I think underneath is quite good because it just gives you the space in the shoulders. And then when you're ready, you're going to take the foot back. So this is a very strong balancing pose. Hands coming onto the chair. Oops, you may well find you discovered a table's closer than you thought. Foot's extended out behind me. You can bend the standing leg if you need to. And the extended foot, the toes are pointing to the ground. You can do whatever you want with the arms. And then bring the foot back in. Doesn't come to the floor, it comes back in front of you. Knee raised as if you were trying to march. And then release it down to the ground. Little shake. And do that again, please. So, leg comes up. Hold the leg. Roll the shoulders. Breath here. Oops, gone for a wobble. Release. So your core's holding the leg up. And then take it back behind. And we want you to wobble. I want you to hold on to this. I want you to get to your limit of where you can balance, okay? The neck is part of the head, so I was looking forwards. Try to look down. So the neck is a nice extension. And then coming back, leg comes up, leg comes down. Okay? Might want to give a little shape to the standing leg in between to release it. Last one. Leg comes up, support the leg, and then hands coming to the chair, take the leg back, look down, so the neck is released, And then inhale. I'm going a bit faster this time. Come back. Bring the foot up in front of you. And release it down. Okay. Everyone got through that one all right? Good. Good to see that. I'm glad to see you holding the chair. So now we're going to swivel the chair around. And we're going to do placing your right foot on the chair, take the left foot back, and you want to keep that foot going back so you've got the heel on the floor. You want this to be a right angle or less. Yeah, you don't want to be like this because that will put strain on the knee. And they're going to feel this in different parts of the body, just depends where you're tight. So you're going to, if you're not feeling much, you need to hop this leg further back, and then you're going to rock slowly backwards and forwards. Okay. So the main places that I get it is here in the quadricep of the leg, standing leg, in the calf, the back bottom of the standing leg, and in the hip, around the hips here, and in the glutes. So it's a really good all-rounder. You can think about where your body is in relation to the move. Can you be a bit more upright? That'll give you a bit of more of a back bend. Are you really forwards? Can you then take it back? Or if you're really back, can you come further forward? So just play with it. Just see the interplay between the lower body and the upper body. Okay, this is your sort of center gravity, and what happens? How do they counterbalance each other? Now, don't want to overwork the calf, so just bend the leg on the chair back towards you. Think about scissoring and sort of the hips so you face further forwards. You want to be facing directly forwards. See what that does to the hips. If you want to intensify, you can come forwards and come over the standing leg, which will give you a strong stretch in the back of the leg. Completely optional, and then let that go. We've done a lot, so you're probably burning here. I'm sorry about that. Release back leg. Give them a little wiggle. This strengthens the knees. So wiggling one way, wiggling the other. One way, other. Okay. Same again on the other side. Foot comes up, hop back. You really do need to keep going back to get sensation. It might be too much to keep the heel on the floor. You can raise the heel if you have to, or shorten your stance to see if you can get the heel down. So just play with which muscle groups are tight in your body and what feels like it's really getting a stretch, yeah? And go with what you can. So the same thing actually about scissoring, even in this pose. So you're drawing your left hip back, right hip forwards, and I'm facing the chair, and then off you go. Going backwards and forwards. Like I say, if you lean forwards, think about leaning back. Where will you feel that? Might get more of a stretch in the groin and the hips. And if you lean back, think about leaning forwards. So it's just gentle, moving backwards and forwards. Okay, and then release. Don't release the foot, just bring the toes back towards you. Scissor again. I felt a sort of adjustment in how my foot was. So you may well, something to be aware of. You might find that your feet start to splay out or in to change which muscles are doing the work. So, and then release. And again, burning strong stretch on your calves, yet your Achilles heel. So give that a little shake. And the rotations again. One way and then the other. Really good for the ligaments to either side of the knees, strengthening those. And another one for strengthening the knees. Again, you might want to hold on to something. It's up to you. You're taking behind. So I've gone for my left leg. So I'm getting behind it. You could do it with one hand if you're not feeling the balance is there. And then you're pulling up with the arms, pushing down with the thigh. And so there's a real muscular engagement, and then very slowly taking the leg out in front of you as if you were trying to kick a ball. So it might not go straight, that's absolutely fine. But keep that opposition. So pulling up with the hands and down with the leg, yeah? Keep that going. That's going to give you the stretches you need and the strengthening you need. Okay. And then try and release with a bit of control. Same again on the other side. So feel free to move around your chair if you need to hold the chair, which is very common and absolutely fine. You can do this very effectively with one hand. It doesn't have to be both, yeah? So get that opposition going and then stretch. Okay. Really pull up with the arms, and that's just knocked me off balance, but it's really good. This means all the muscles are having to work equally. Good, okay. And then release down, and we're going to come to sitting again, and we're going to do the alphabet. Okay. So again, for sitting, coming down slowly if possible. Slowly, 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 just reaching back to find your chair. And then come to sitting. Okay. So take your right foot out first and draw the alphabet. So lowercase, off you go. Feel free to rest as it starts getting too strong. So do rest the foot down if it starts to feel too strong. Belly drawn in and up, so engaging the core. As you get more confident with this and stronger, you can think about drawing the letters both ways as well. So doing a sort of mirror version. Don't forget to cross your T's, dot your I's. And do this in any language you want. If you want to put some umlauts in there and make even more little ankle moves, feel free to. Okay. And then once you get to the end, just rest for a second and start on the other side. Okay. Belly drawn in and up, make sure core's active. Make sure you're sat at the front of the chair as well, your back's nice and straight, or as straight as can be rather than slouching. And like I say, if you need to rest down, it is strong, feel free to. So go, take out your own pace. And then once that's done, knees coming up. Notice that I'm not getting hold of the knee till the last minute, so my legs and core are doing the work. And then just pulling the knee in toward the body as much as is possible. Shoulders roll down, and an ankle roll, and an ankle roll. And flexing. Really pulling the knee in and up. And again, you might be able to let that go down on its own accord, and then the same thing on the other side. So this is just releasing because that was quite strong on the glutes and the legs. Pull the leg in, rotate the foot one way, rotate the foot the other, flex and point, pull the knee in a little bit more, and then let that go. And then last stretch of the day, you're going to, you've got your hands like this. Okay, I'm not going to do the side twist. You could, if you wanted to work the core, you could come back for that. But go easy on your back. So the hands are like this, and you're coming back. And then as you come forward, hands are coming into cactus arms. Exhale. Huge base, beach ball. Inhale. exhale. So this is working the core. It's giving a nice little ripple through the spine, and it's also working on our sense of balance. So this would be if you were falling backwards. Okay, so you're moving on your own breath. Cactus arms, you can intensify it by really think about taking the elbows back, possibly letting the fingers fall back as well, and you'll get a bit of a wrist stretch, but completely optional, those last few things. The main thing is belly in and up as you come back, moving on the breath. Inhale, come forwards. And we are focusing on balance today, so you can think about taking feet off the floor if you want. So really get that sense of how far back you can go safely. Or if that feels too much and you're very sensitive with your back, you can keep the hands on the legs and let them slide forwards and backwards. Okay. Okay, brilliant. And then we're going to just staying on the side of the chair, just twist towards your computer, just to release the spine. And then come the other way. Hand coming onto the leg. So now I'm looking across the back of the chair, keeping my shoulder down. So I'm not going high with my hand on the chair, keeping the shoulder down. And then coming back. I'm reaching behind me if you have got the back on your chair and just leaning forwards. So it's a gentle back bend, okay? And then we're going to end as we started with a couple of rounds of alternate nostril breathing. So make sure you're sitting comfortably, feet are firmly on the floor. You are upright in your chair. Feel the weight on the chair. You're going to think about tucking your chin in slightly, which will just help with because the cervical neck, is part of the cervical spine, is part of the spine. So just tucking it in like that just gives a nice, that's cranking your neck, give your neck ache there. And then you want the breath to be even. So if you are trying to hold the breath at any stage to keep in the sync with what I'm saying, please don't do that. Let your breath flow. So if it needs to go slower than mine or faster, be sort of aware of that and let that take priority, okay, over whatever instructions I'm giving. So we're going to cover over the left nostril, and breathe in through the right. Close that off and breathe out through the left. And then back in through the left. And out through the right. So that's one entire round. And as we go into the next round, breathing back in through the right, follow the breath from the start of the inhale to the end of the inhale, and the pause as you transition, closing off the right nostril, breathing out through the left, following the breath again. And then back in through the left, closing it off, and out through the right. That's 2 rounds. So feel the pause at the end of the exhale and then back in through the right. Close off the right nostril, breathe out through the left. Tuck the chin in now. Think about your alignment. Back in through the left. Close off the left nostril, out through the right. So we've done 3. I'd like to do 2 more at your own speed. Back in through the right, off you go. So the breath is flowing and fluid, steady and even. There's no juddering, no halting. If it's not comfortable, just let it go and let your hands fall into your lap. make that your last round. So the final exhale is out through the right nostril. And once you've done that, you can let the palms come to resting on the lap. And then feel the feet on the ground, feel the bottom on the chair, feel the fabric of your clothes. And then very slowly open your eyes. And thank you very much for practicing with me. I hope that was helpful for balance. You can unmute yourselves now.